tradition. The saints offer all of us a model for leaving behind bitterness and negativity and striving instead to remember that the church and the world belongs to God. In other words, the saints are our models of hope, even in the darkest times in our world and within the church itself. Taking my friend's advice, I followed through with a dream of mine to learn more about the 4 women doctors of the church: Saint Teresa of Ávila, Saint Catherine of Siena, Saint Thérèse of Lisieux, and Saint Hildegard of Bingen. For some time, I have longed to know them better. In the course of this project, I have dubbed them the Women of Hope, as the title of this book indicates. Each of these holy women lived in times of tribulation for the church, times rather like our own, and in many respects, worse. Between them, they survived the Spanish Inquisition, the Black Plague, the Avignon Papacy, Jansenism, and the Albigensian Crusade, and at different points, an utterly corrupt clergy. Despite this, they all persevered through years of sickness, adversity, and ridicule, both from inside and outside of the church. They fought the good fight right up until the end, and all died as faithful daughters of the church. Most importantly, they never lost hope. Having worked for 15 years in a Catholic women's apostolate that focused on teaching the faith, I was impressed that each of these 4 saints had been given the very special title of doctor. In this instance, the word doctor means teacher. Being accorded the title of Doctor of the Church indicates that the writings and teachings of these saints are useful to Christians in any age of the Church. The men and women who have been given this title are also particularly known for their depth of understanding and the orthodoxy of their theological teachings. This does not mean they are infallible, but it does mean that they have contributed significantly to the formulation of Christian teaching in at least one area. While each of these 4 women has contributed greatly to the intellectual tradition of our faith, in reality, they are primarily teachers of the heart. As I searched for hope in the face of the darkness in the church today, I at first believed that my resentment would subside and my hope would return if only I could learn more. In other words, I believed that head knowledge alone would soften my soul. Unexpectedly, what I learned from Teresa, Catherine, Thérèse, and Hildegard is not head knowledge at all. Instead, they touched my heart with the simple truth that God never abandons His people, but He meets us at the point of our greatest darkness. Time and again, He met each one of them in their darkest hour. He was their hope, and as we know, hope never disappoints. See Romans chapter 5, verse 5. Learning about these 4 women restored my hope for the church and even increased it. Since I began studying, and more importantly, praying with these saints, my life has been richly blessed. From Teresa, I learned to pray and to wait upon the Lord. She was 40 years old when she experienced her true conversion, and from then on, she placed all of her hope and trust in the Lord, where it was very well received. Without Christ using her as His hands and feet, what Teresa accomplished in her life would have simply been impossible. I also love the passion and wisdom of Catherine. Her zeal for souls is unrivaled. In fact, the combination of her deep love of God and love of neighbor produced hope wherever she went, especially in situations where all seemed lost. She was a true contemplative in action. I must admit that Thérèse holds a special place in my heart because I have never read anyone who had a more developed interior life at such a young age. We share a common experience in that we both lost a parent when we were 4 years old. You never get over an experience like that, but I drew